Hey.
What's up, my brother? Good, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Can you see me?
Yeah. See me good?
I can see you. I can hear you. So,
Sweet.
From the UK to America.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just, as you know, I was a bit sick. Recovered from that a while ago. And just getting on with life, you know?
Yeah, man. How's it over there?
It's all right, you know. I still have work, so I'm on the road. And over here, because I'm in Manchester, I'm not in London.
Okay.
Yeah, and there are people like still on the streets. You know, it's not the way they put it as if it's like total lockdown.
Right.
It's not necessarily like that around here.
Yeah.
People are more kind of open to going out, and yeah, so it's all right.
It's similar over here. You know, it's not. You know, we're not dealing with a bunch of crazies, and it's not like the zombie apocalypse or anything like that. Hold on one second. Can you keep it down? Sorry about that. But I've been quarantined for years. The way I live, you know, I'm up in the mountains. I have 30 acres of land, so I'm kind of used to this.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, ultimately, this is the wake-up call for a lot of stuff that we've been on to for so long. And it's just a perfect opportunity. I know it's starting to become cliche to say that, but it really is. And it's a kind of like a Charles Darwinistic vibration.
Yeah.
Where it's like survival of the fittest, which I don't necessarily believe in to an extent, because I believe we're spiritual beings. But at the same time, if you're resisting this whole thing, you're going to get mowed over. If you're accepting and rolling with it and learning from it and seeing the beauty of it, then this is like superpower ascension to the max.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I've always found that, like, the more you resist this kind of stuff, and at first, when people start kind of awakening to this kind of stuff and the reality that we actually face, there is an initial period where people are resisting. It's like a natural response, but you got to get yourself out of it. You got to start looking at how it can actually impact your life in better ways, and I think that's what it's all about, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
So how did we meet? How did you find me?
My brother actually follows you. My brother follows you. Yeah, he follows you for a while, and then he referred your page over to me, and then was browsing through your page, and I know I've seen a few posts about your father, and I just want to give my condolences for that. And recently, end of last year, December 18th, my father passed as well. And I felt that connection with you, and I thought, I've got to reach out to you, you know? And so that's what kind of almost also inspired me to reach out to you.
Wow, brother. Thank you for saying that. I feel you, man. I mean, December 18th, just this last year?
Yeah. My father had multiple sclerosis. It's a very, very interesting story that kind of awoke me to everything. And it's part of the reason why I started this page as well. My father was suffering from multiple sclerosis for 25 years. And then in the last 10 years, he was secondary progressive. And up until, he was still able to walk until about 2017, when he was administered a influenza vaccine.
They give him an influenza vaccine.
They give him an
15 years in MS.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I was not at that level of my knowledge and awakening where I could have said something or looked into it. But yeah, they give it him, and after this flu vaccine, my father really took a turn for the worst. He lost his ability to walk. He was in hospital with multiple times with sepsis, lost his movement in all his limbs, to be honest, had bowel issues, and it took his life, you know. this is something we're trying to, as a family, you know, get some help with, because he was, you know, it's medical negligence, and yeah. It's heavy. Yeah, it's very heavy.
It's been a year for my dad. Yeah. Not a day, not a moment goes by. He was like my life. He was my best friend, you know, through the whole thing. And I'm just still like kind of walking in clouds about the whole situation. I mean, it was a 2-3 years battle, you know, and I took him everywhere in the world. I mean, I did everything I possibly humanly could.
Yeah.
And so I feel your pain. I mean, I don't know what to say. It's just, that's our dad, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, are you the oldest?
No, my brother's older.
Your brother's older, yeah. How's your family handling it?
It's been, to be honest, like, the last 3 years last 5 years, I would say, have been very, very traumatic as a family. To see and witness, like, somebody you love so dearly, you know, like, being stripped away of his abilities. And it's just about recovering at the moment. It's been very, very difficult, but my dad was in a lot of pain, a lot of suffering. So now that he's left this world, it's almost a blessing, you know, because he didn't deserve to live in that pain. Nobody does. So it's about us realizing it, accepting it, and moving on. Not moving on necessarily, but taking everything in and living our life accordingly, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And taking his unique superpower, whatever it is, his love, his strength, and embodying it. You know, that, for me, that's been the only thing that's been really getting me by, is a combination of knowing that he's with the infinite right now, completely free of his mortal body, and I'm taking on his lead, and everything that he stood for. So this has been motivation for me. You know, I've been in health and wellness and nutrition since I was 8 or 9 years old. You know, I was mentored at an early age, and so I've seen it all. I've been experienced. I mean, half my family are medical doctors, half the family are holistic doctors, half the family are yogis, the other half, you know, it's like such a, you know, dynamic surrounding in terms of the influence on health and wellness and spirituality. So I was basically able to have perspective at an early age. And right now, with what I just went through with my dad over the last couple of years, I've never been more motivated to get to the real truth on, you know, how to live in this body free of pain, free of fear of anxiety, and fear of manipulation of a force that is basically dismantling and corrupting our entire immune system from the jump start. And that comes in every wave, from emotional, physical, spiritual, financial, every aspect. I mean, since we were born into some form of servitude. And I think, like you, I'm first generation here, American. My parents are from Iran. They immigrated to America, and I was born here. And so I was the firstborn son from a long lineage of a Persian family, thousands and thousands of years that wasn't born in modern day Iran. And I'm here from India, right?
I'm from Pakistan.
But you're Pakistani.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's basically India.
My bad. Okay, so I have a lot of Pakistani friends.
No, all good. I get people confuse me with Indian. It's all the same.
all the same, yeah. I have, actually, my sister married a British Indian guy who's Sikh. His background's Sikh, but he's not like a non-practicing Sikh. He's from Manchester. They live in San Francisco, so I have half Indian, half Persian nephew and niece, and we all come from the same place. You know, we're all the same brothers. So it's just been a unique experience. You know, this reality, and so now it's a matter of getting together and really pulling together tribe. And I've created a movement here, specifically in America, and it's starting to branch out worldwide. Canada, Mexico, South America, Europe. and also Scandinavian countries, and you know, and it's not a matter of being someone who just wants to fight against the grain or find a problem. No, it's ease and grace, actually. It's finding the truth and using discernment on our health, our wellness, our relationships, and really looking at the facts. And I find myself merging, you know, between a spiritual and scientific background, which is a spiritual science, and that's a Rudolph Steiner concept of anthroposophy, which is basically what I was raised in terms of Waldorf education and biodynamic farming and understanding the spirit through a scientific lens. And so, you know, this whole situation that we're dealing with right now, the multiple sclerosis, you know, based on my research, it's comes from heavy metal toxicity and parasites, you know, and then you combine that with a crippled immune system, you get interstitial acidosis. Once you have interstitial acidosis, then you have neurons and the myelin sheaths getting corrupted and eaten apart. Once that happens, you have nerves that can't connect and communicate with each other. 30% of the country is borderline MS or Parkinson's or some debilitating brain disease, and it could be from a combination of bathing in toxic water, eating toxic food, drinking diet soda, aspartame, and go on and on and on. And the fact is that the medical literature and the medical science doesn't want to get to the root of it. They want to mask the symptom. They don't want to cure the system. You know, they don't want to heal the system.
Exactly, yeah.
And so that's part of, you know, my entire, what I'm here to do, especially after my experience with my father, and he was dealing with colorectal cancer that had metastasized, and I was chasing it all over the place, winning, losing, winning. I was just back and forth. We shouldn't be in this position. Kids shouldn't be sick right now. We shouldn't be coming out with all forms of chronic diseases. You know, our soil is shot. You know, the hydrological cycle's been corrupted. You know, we're completely acidic on all levels. I would say 90% of the population are completely malnourished and dehydrated. And just like the gnosis of that, what does that even mean? You know, it's really getting into the fundamentals of that. And so that's my mission here. And, you know, that's what I'm here to do, is to bring light to that. Yeah.
Definitely. And it's like, especially with my own experience as well, it's like when you speak to medical professions, I in my own experience, I lost faith in that. And I started to really kind of understand how when these people, they don't really treat the root causes. You know, it's more, especially with my father, it was always, they see a symptom and they would treat the symptom. Something else would come along, they'll treat that, something else would come along, treat that. And it was just a vicious cycle. And I was thinking to myself, why is there nobody out there, people calling themselves MS specialists, why is there nobody out there who actually knows why this is being caused? And I'm thinking to myself, you know, we don't live in a world where this is that answer isn't out there. And I set myself on a journey, especially with my family, my brother as well, to really try and understand everything and try and go for that root cause, because I think that's where the medical mafia have manipulated and brainwashed everybody. There is no teachings of the root cause, and a lot of that is to do with the lymph system, the backing up, you know, and I just think if that is implemented in the medical system somehow, some way, it can change. It can really change, but it's not built like that. That's the problem.
I think we're heading into that direction. I like to be optimistic, but I'm also a realist, right? So I'm not going to be like namaste and put my head in the cloud and just, you know, pray for forever evolution and, you know.
Yeah.
No. We have to look at the data. We have to look at the facts. The fact of the matter is our reality across all paradigms of existence is completely sick. Our oceans are sick. Our soil is sick. Our jungles are dying off. The entire economic structure is, plaguing the entire world. The Industrial Revolution has caused a disease or a virus to enter this reality, and that virus comes in many forms. But at the center point of it is some type of corporatocracy system where all of a sudden you have fiduciary obligations to make profit. What does that mean? That means there's a legal obligation to your shareholders that every quarter you have to turn a profit on somebody else's expense. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, pharmaceutical companies, drug companies, food companies should not be in a position where they have to turn a profit. That's a conflict of interest. So if there's a legal obligation to have to turn a profit, then there's no way you're looking to solve an issue. Instead, you're trying to perpetuate an issue. And then it ties into the control, the politics, and all of that. And then we're under this one big umbrella. And this entire situation is just basically a lack of education and a lack of knowledge and a lack of gnosis. Because we've been stripped of all knowledge. We've been stripped of all awareness. We've completely forgotten who we are. So we've actually forgotten what we've forgotten. The last 7 or 8 generations have completely wiped us out with our connection to our mother and our connection to the natural law of this reality. And it's really understanding how the body functions and our connection to nature. Those two things have been completely stripped from us, and now we're sitting in an age of materialism. So we went through monotheism, which is the one faith, then we went to polytheism, which is multiple religions. Now we're in the age of materialism at its finest, and it's governing this construct. This construct is basically regulated by war. So our center point of our economy, worldwide economy, is governed by war, it's governed by disease, and it's governed by consumerism. Those 3 things. Our 18th president of the United States said the American economy is basically our war department, disease department, and consumerism. Like, how did we get there? And it's no wonder we are in the situation that we're in right now. It's not confusing. It's like a lot of people, how do we know? It's clear. We have corporatocracies that have a vested interest on mechanisms that remove our health, that remove our awareness. And when you're out of health, when you're not embodying your truth, because we've all carnated here for a reason. Brother, you believe you have a soul, right?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, so that soul has a contract with its purpose in this carnation, and your soul came here to do something. And you can call that karma, you can call that dharma, you can call it whatever you want, but you had a contract to be here, and so did everybody else. How many people on this plane of existence right now are in their dharma right now, in their mission, in their intention? I can tell you probably 95% of the population is completely outside of that natural law, right? And so we see that. I see that. I'm just going in public, going into major urban sprawls, just turn on the TV, see what's going on out there. We are so stuck in the illusion that we've lost who we are. And when you lose who you are and your soul is completely corrupted, there's only one thing to do. That's to distract yourself. That's to numb yourself. That's to get sick. And that's to be completely stuck in some other paradox of an illusion. And this whole Hollywood, Hollyweird system, this whole media, all this stuff has done its job to perfection. The confusion, distortion, and taking you out of your own presence and your own reality is like the most incredible program I've ever seen in my entire life. You gotta hand it to them. They did an amazing job. It's like you can't even deny it. It's the job that they have done is the strings that they have pulled, the plan that they have created and implemented is crazy how it's landed and how it's been accepted. And
you just gotta hand it to them at the end of the day. Like, it's well thought out plan.
Sun Tzu, right? The Art of War. Okay, I have that up on that shelf. I've read The Art of War maybe 20 times in my life.
Yeah.
Okay, and what I get from The Art of War is that you need to know your enemy more than you know yourself. Okay?
Yes.
And so they know their enemy, and that's us. Mm-hmm. They know how the human body works. They know how the psychology works. You've heard the term PSYOP before, right? What does that mean? That means psychological operation. If you can just pull the strings on certain alchemical processes in the human mind, you control the narrative, you control the direction, you control both sides of the game. And if you control both sides of the game, you can line them up directly to precision surgically on how you want the outcome to happen. None of these things that are happening, all this stuff, coronavirus, economic collapse, you know, this war, this assassination on Iran's general, this, you know, all of these things, none of it is coincidence. None of it is by chance. It's all calculated, precisional, you know, surgical process, because the whole thing has been written out. Mm-hmm. And so we have to be aware of that. We have to be prepared for that. And the way that they've done the psychological warfare so well is that 90% of the population, they don't care. Mm-hmm. Why? Because they're just trying to pay their bills.
Exactly.
Right? They're just trying to survive.
They don't have the time to look into this. They don't have the time to actually look beyond, because they're trapped, and the system is designed that way.
Exactly. To perfection.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was speaking to my brother, and he was explaining some things. And it's interesting because some of these, obviously we've chosen to come here. We have a mission. We've all chosen to come here. And there are some entities on this planet, you could say, that have been here for years and been here for maybe thousands of years. And I know Max Spears, you know about Max Spears?
Yeah, absolutely.
And he was talking about some of these entities have actually been here for thousands of years, and there is some kind of time loop. I'm not too sure myself. I'm not too well researched in this area, but he was saying there is some kind of time loop, and these guys have constructed a plan because they already know what's going to happen. That's why we have the language of the Kabbalah, which is gematria. When people pull out the numbers and everything aligns, and there is no coincidence, because this is a plan that has been designed to the T.
Yeah.
That's why everything plays out. That's why they've predicted things in Hollywood movies. It's not a coincidence. It's all known. They all know what's going to happen. And we've got to awaken to this. And we have to do it quickly, I think.
It's mathematically so. People want to be science-based, right? Because science has become the new religion, right?
Yeah.
And we're not talking about real science. We're not talking about reverse engineering science. We're not talking about the scientific method where you're about to do an experiment and your agenda isn't having a specific outcome. You just want to see what the outcome is based on theory and based on physics and all, and real science. But science today has become scientism, which is the fake science. Oh, if you're not this, if you're not coming from this university, if you don't have then you don't know what you're talking about. Just leave it to us, just go and play, go watch your TV, go play, go do whatever the hell you're doing, eat your state-sponsored food, take your vaccines, do all that stuff. We'll just tell you what's real and what's not. So we're in this age of the materialism, but the materialism is so false and so fake and so erroneous that they're pretty much writing the new script. So then they can create and implement strategies like you just said right now, like problem, reaction, solution. Which is I learned that when I was 9 years old from David Icke. I was introduced to David Icke at that age.
Wow.
In person. So my cousin David Wolf, he created the raw food movement in the 90s. So if you're just joining us right now, my name is Chervin. I'm the founder of Cymbiotika. I'm also the founder of Black Diamond Group. We're a VC capital firm. I've done over $1 billion in commercial real estate asset acquisition. and green commercial real estate building. I don't know if you knew that about me. Yeah, my passion was building sustainable real estate, big projects, because, and I got into that young. I was 24, 25, and I saw that in the built environment, it was so toxic what they were doing to the world, and so I wanted to change that. So I was mentored by David Avocado Wolf. He's he's very polarizing for a lot of people, but he taught me everything about detoxification, about superfoods, about life, about energy, and then he introduced me to David Icke. So when I was like, I can't remember, I was probably 10 years old, learning about the reptilian, draconian takeover, and the banking system, and the Federal Reserve System, and all of this crazy stuff. But the main thing I took from him was problem, reaction, solution, which is you create a problem. It could be anything. It could be this COVID-19. There's a reaction in public, and then you provide the solution based on that reaction, because psychologically, when you're in a state of sympathetic nervous system, meaning you're in that fight flight where your cortisol is up and you're looking for any solution, when any other time we would never even accept that solution. We would basically say, fuck off, right? Get out of here. And so that strategy has been used thousands of times over the last 50 years.
Yeah. And it is the basis for pretty much everything that happens.
It's the center of it. It's the perfect strategy. It's the perfect rollout. And then the psyop is that they don't have, agents on every corner, in front of every door, in front of every house. So we got to turn your mom into an agent. We got to turn your best friend into an agent, so that the sheep become the sheep herder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now you're not worried about that agent. You're just worried about what that group of friends are going to think of you because you speak a different tune. Or, what's that Japanese saying? It's don't be the nail that stands out above the rest. You're the first to get hit.
Yeah.
And so this is prevalent. I'm glad we started our conversation like this, because we should probably start really doing some more lives together, and we can get into actual nutrition. We can get into wellness. I'm going to bring you into Cymbiotika. Cymbiotika is changing the entire game in terms of health, nutrition, and wellness. And the products, not only are they the best products in the world, I can honestly say that. If you're just joining me, my name is Chervin. I'm the founder of Cymbiotika. I am the head of sports nutrition for Novak Djokovic, the #1 tennis player in the world. I am a mentor and head of nutrition of some of the top athletes in the world. Anthony Joshua, he's a good friend of mine. He's on Cymbiotika products. He's the top heavyweight in the world. We are strong. We are legion. We are tribe. We have healing centers across the world. We have the most incredible farms in the North Shore of Kauai. We're connected to state senators. We're not just some hippie group in the middle of the forest holding hands. We're on it, on full throttle. And we're coming from a place of love and authenticity and awareness. There's no ego here. There's just gnosis of who we are and where we are and why we are. I'm a Vedic scholar. My life is designed around Vedic cosmology. I live in that encoded system. I run through my human design network and my gene keys. So I'm operating with software intelligence that's on high sophisticated levels that everyone should have access to. And right now, Cymbiotika is not a product company. Between me and you and everyone listening in here, the products are just a front. We really just want to plant seeds of truth, and not only seed it, but nurture it, and really get the children going. Because I've been doing a lot of lives over the last couple of weeks with mothers, pregnant mothers that have kids that are on the autism spectrum, and it's so sad, dude. It's so sad to see what they're going through and how much pain they're in and how much confusion they have and not having anywhere to turn to. And so You know, we're providing the alchemy and the nutrition and the wellness and the reality, so everyone feels like they're part of a tribe and part of a movement, and ultimately giving them the keys back to their own sovereignty. Because I think that's the foundation of it right there. Based on everything that we've got experienced and what I know, is that if you can just give people the ability to learn and to understand how their alchemy works, emotionally, physically, spiritually, then they can make the decisions. We're not forcing anything. We're not telling anyone, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. No. It's here's the science, here's the data, here's the experience. From there, it's your decision how you want to do it, because that's the power. When you're telling people, oh, you gotta be vegan, oh, you gotta be vegetarian, oh, you gotta be a carnivore, oh, you gotta be paleo, oh, you gotta be, you know, this. They don't really fully get it. They're just listening to someone, an authority, tell them. That's why they don't stay consistent with it. That's why a month later they're on to the new thing. They're on to the next thing. And then they fall back into their old patterns. And then when they fall back into their old patterns, they get emotionally distressed. And they get sad and they get frustrated with self. So fuck all that. You know, excuse my French, but that's done with. That's the old paradigm. We're changing that paradigm. And I'm really, really excited to have you involved with what we're doing, because we have a big group in the UK right now. And we're all in, dude. We're all in.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. It's about solutions now. It's about solutions, and like you said, planting the seed. And that is the mission of Cymbiotika. That's amazing, because I think people underestimate the ability of planting a seed. I get messages all the time. Even just simple lives like this that we can do. Simple, one post, anything. It can awaken people like we cannot imagine. It sets like a cycle, a snowball effect. And that's all it needs. It's just that little seed. And it goes such a long way.
What you said right there is genius. The snowball effect. That's so genius, because it's all about momentum. It's everything in our life. So if anyone's listening right here, your life is momentum. It's a series of events that creates inertia or momentum. So you start working out, you start exercising, you start feeling good. Because you're exercising and feeling good, you don't want to put toxic food in your body. You want to provide your body with healthy food. Your body is signaling endorphins to your brain to say, hey, no, I don't want that toxic chick. I want this. We're like free-flowing creative species, alchemical processes. Every part of our body is communicating with each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the momentum. And then you meet new friends, and then it's a tribe, and then all of a sudden you start creating momentum. So what you said about the snowball effect is so true.
Yeah, definitely. And I also, for everybody listening, because I get a lot of messages, and I'm sure you do too as well, of people asking for advice on how to, maybe somebody's just newly awakened to something and they're finding it very difficult to process certain kinds of information. They're very down, they're very depressed in a hole, which is a normal reaction. I've been through that. I even go through that sometimes still, depending on what kind of information I'm coming across. But one thing that really helped me was this kind of switch of mindset, and that is understanding. I switched my mindset because once I was playing the victim role, and I was thinking, why is all this happening? I was asking, why is this happening to us? What kind of evil people are these? All of these questions you ask. And then I stopped, and after some time I started to think, and I was thinking, if all of this did not happen, if they were not spraying us with poisons, if they were not poisoning our food, if the medical system wasn't the way it is now, if they weren't implementing 5G, if they weren't doing programming through our televisions, all of this stuff, all the agendas we see, if they were not doing all this, I would have awoken and progressed myself.
Right.
I would still be in that same position I was. Unhealthy, lack of knowledge, lack of awareness, lack of spirituality. So I switched my mindset into thinking, hang on a minute, it's almost awoken me to be a better person. So these things are actually waking people up. They're happening to wake you up and progress your life and your journey. And if you can make that switch, it's hard, but if you can make that switch, it's a very, very powerful way to implement new teachings into your life, change your life for the better.
Well said, brother. Yeah, it's. I think when you say stuff like that, or when we look at that, we're in a construct, right? We have a sun, we have a moon, we have an earth, we have polarities, right? A plus and a minus. Our brain, our heart have a pH, right? Percentage of hydrogen, right? That's what makes our heart beat. It's that pH difference between the inner part of the cell, which should be around 7.4 pH, to the outer part of the cell, which should be around 4.25. So that delta creates a charge, a positive and negative charge, and that's what makes the heart beat, boom, boom. And when those polarities start to go closer and closer and closer, the heart stops. That's why in the hospital they shock you with a defibrillator to push that pH back, and that's how the heart beats. Most people don't know how that works.
Yeah.
They just think that it's like, what are they, punching the heart? No. It's an electric shock that causes a pH separation in the cells. Very interesting. So why I brought that up is that you've been hit with so much of the bullshit. There's one person posting in here called Andretti. Can you remove this guy? He's just talking shit and everyone hates him. Right, it's a fake account. Andretti 7757. Just click on his username and block him. I usually don't care what people are commenting, but I'm seeing other people saying, hey, get this guy out of here.
I think I've done it.
Okay, so we've been like, the darkness and the shit is so clear that you didn't have a choice, right? So the polarities were so uneven on it's like, okay. And so that's the beauty, because a big part of the population go even deeper into the darkness. And that's why we have psychopaths. That's why we have murderers. That's why we have people like Andretti on here that just can't get out of their illusion, has no idea what we're talking about, and has to just send bad words and is an internet tough guy, right? Behind the screen. So they're that's like a sociopath, narcissistic, dark side. And those people, how did they get there? They were born as children. They had a mother and father. You know what I mean? So it's using that polarity and pushing it to somewhere where you can get into balance, and you can get into love, and you can start resonating on a new harmonic frequency. And that harmonic frequency is going to start providing you with a whole new outlook to life.
Exactly.
And now you're attracting people like. You brought me into your life, right? So that's a law of attraction. You know, what are the chances of you and I connecting in this reality?
Yeah.
1 in billions, right? But because your heart is open, and because your mind is open, and you've released that dark flood of existence, these types of conversations are basically allowed to happen and supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And that's what synergy to me means, is that it's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 + 1 = infinite. And our potentiality to create heaven on earth is limitless. And that's the beauty of what I see of what this movement is. It's creating an awareness, and it's spreading in such a beautiful high vibe way, because it's rooted in authenticity and just wanting to feel better. It's like, what does this all come down to? It's like, let's feel better. We can get into all the micro realities of what's happening out there, and we can. That's the best way of exposing it. But ultimately, we're not victims. We do have trauma. I have trauma. Between me and you, and I have no problem saying this, I've done every psychedelic you can imagine. I'm a master shaman. I've served medicine to some really crazy people that you probably know who they are. I died in the jungles of Peru hundreds of times. I've gone through the deepest departicleization of self. I've seen my ego die off in front of me. I've crossed over. I've done that type of work. And I've realized that this is just a dream within a dream. This whole reality, the consciousness, being alive in these bodies, like what is this, right? So I've gotten to that point. And so that's allowed me, or at least I wouldn't say allowed me, that's given me a perspective of what life's all about and how beautiful moments like this are and how much I value it. And I don't, sometimes someone that I don't know can affect me, and that's just me needing to do more work. But for the most part, I could care less, because I know what we're here to do, and it's just beginning.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Thank you, brother. Yeah.
Do you, as a personal experience, because do you believe that we as people to experience and have that mind-opening revelation about reality, do you think we are ought to go down paths like that? For example, like yourself, doing psychedelics. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, that's a tough question, because I get that asked all the time. My recommendations, like, Chervin, should I go do ayahuasca with this tribe? Should I go, what's your take on this and that? All I can do is speak from my experience. I could never, ever tell someone to go and do any of that. It'd be irresponsible, especially with the position that I am today with my company, stuff like that. But if you're listening right now, I was recently interviewed by Pete Evans. Do you know who Chef Pete Evans is out of Australia?
I'm not too familiar now.
He's like their main health crusader. He's got millions of followers. He's a renegade. He was a top chef in Australia, and then he was part of the entire media, and then he realized how bunch of bullshit it was, and he was just like, fuck this, I'm gonna expose all the real truths. And Australia is like hardcore, there's so many people that are so stuck in the matrix, so he had to fight all of that nonsense. And so he recently interviewed me. You should listen to it. I'll send you a link.
Yeah.
And he asks me about psychedelics, and I really do it really well in terms of how I explain, the intention behind it. For me, it's all about intention. Everything needs to have intention. Forget about psychedelics. Just your breath. If you don't have intention with your breath, you're completely stripped of your entire faculties. So I'm using that as an example to highlight how important it is to have the absolute intention when it comes to something like a spiritual path or a spiritual journey, when it's using entheogenic compounds. And so these compounds, you must have the deepest reverence for them. And how do you get reverence for something? You learn about it. You understand the culture. You take the time. That's the embodiment of truth. And that goes with everything we do. Don't take my word for it. Don't take your word for it. Don't take Joe Dispenza's word for it. Don't take the Dalai Lama's word for it. The whole thing is have your own power and take your sovereignty back. And by taking your sovereignty back, then you're in a position to make the right decisions. The fact of the matter is, most people aren't sovereign, and they're not sovereign for many reasons. Because they are loaded with trauma. They had trauma when they were children, or when they were in the mom's womb. They were born in a crazy hospital. They were vaccinated. They were bullied as a kid. They were never allowed to vent these traumatic experiences out. They've been under financial pressure their whole life. They weren't given clean water. I mean, we're under attack. And so these things have to be made front and center so we can look at the problem, we can see them, identify them, and then we can slowly start reverse engineering how to remove and move forward without those things being crutches in our life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, because when we talk about detoxification and becoming healthier, it's not just about the body. It's you have to have traumatic releases, because most people do have trauma. from childhood, like you're saying, and this does need to be released in order for us to move on to that next stage of health and vitality. And yeah, I totally agree with you.
It's amazing. This life is so incredibly beautiful, you know, and the truths that I know, that I'm aware of what's happening, you know, the suffering, the pain, the experience of our fathers. I mean, I can go on and on, just the worldwide hunger, the world seeing obese children who are actually not overeating, they're actually starving from the inside because they're eating shit, denatured food. The pain and struggle that I know that they're going through psychologically, going to sleep every night, waking up in that same disaster, that affects me. You know, talk about people, spiritual community, talk about being an empath. No. To embody full empathy, you first need to be aware of the truth. You can't just be this spiritual being, burning sage, screaming at the moon, pouring your menstrual blood on your face. That's a bunch of bullshit. Being really empathetic is knowing the truth and being aware of the issues and having and working on solutions for them. And so I sometimes get caught up in the pain and suffering, and what takes me out of that is knowing that this is one big cosmic joke. This whole thing is one big, just, you know, this is the ride. This is the journey. This is the experience of carting in here to be in this entire full-on ridiculousness. And what that does is it eases the pressure off, and it eases the stress off, and allows us to make better decisions, and allows us to make decisions that are so much more valuable to our path, where we're not stuck and shrouded in fear. We know that fear is the ultimate sufferer. That's why this whole coronavirus thing is making so many people suffer. And people even really understood what a virus is and how a virus propagates and works and how the virus is, you know, contracted, then this whole thing would be laughable to a certain degree. And so, so we need to shroud and remove the fear, and we need to start looking at it like, my God, what a fucking opportunity to live the best life of all time. And those Marvel comic movies where you got like, they're like fighting off some alien from outer space that's here to like destroy Earth because Earth is already corrupted, right? Which is actually an occult story. I feel like that's what we're doing, but real. And it's the greatest mission of all time. Yeah. It's the greatest honor of all time. And every day, today I got up, 6 o'clock on the rise. I have 30 acres of land. I'm on a mountaintop. I've built a sanctuary here. I get up on the ground. I drink my salt water. I hydrate with my minerals. I'm butt naked. I go out onto the earth. I worship Father Sun that comes and turns on my entire immunological system. And I thank God. And I thank Source. And I thank the mission every day. And I'm awareness of that. And the appreciation I have vitalizes me and energizes me so I can get grinding and I can get to work and I can kick fucking ass. And I'm all in, brother.
Fuck yeah, man. That's what I mean. There's beauty in everything. You've got to be able to see it. If you truly want to navigate through this reality and enjoy it, you have to be able to see that beauty. And it's about getting, and like for those that can, for those that can see the true beauty of this reality and what a ride we are in. It's about helping others now and pulling them into this, into what you see and how it can be, you know. And I also wanted to point out as well, because you were speaking about fear and trauma, and that is also a reason why when you turn on the TV, when you go on your phones, what is the first thing you see? It's always some kind of bad news, you know, always some kind of traumatic news, because they want you in that state. They want you in that state of trauma and fear. The quicker you realize this, the quicker you can drag yourself out. That's why, you know, a lot of people always say the first step is to turn off your TV. And what they mean by that is to just not consume that bullshit that has been fed us, that is being fed us.
Literally, to every cell in our body. We're cosmic beings that have so many senses beyond what we even can imagine. I mean, the quantum entanglement in quantum physics has basically upgraded our concept of energy. The 1900s, 20th century was about thermodynamics, which is basically the energy of propulsion. Now we're getting into the quantum field where we know that our bodies are magnetic, oscillating, and frequency dependent, meaning all energies and frequencies are dictating and governing our emotional response and our immune response. So we're basically vibrating beings, and we pick up and resource off everything that oscillates in nature. That's why 5G and Wi-Fi are so scary and so dangerous, because they're tapping into those frequency fields. And so most people here, they know what epigenetics is. I think it's become popular. I learned about epigenetics about 12, 13 years ago from Dr. Bruce Lipton, who's a friend of ours, and he wrote a book called The Biology of Belief. And what that means is that your environmental reality, meaning your emotional reality, your physical body, your health, all of that stuff will dictate your genetic code, meaning it's epigenetics, which is above your genetics. So you can turn on, turn off your entire life DNA code, which is basically the dinucleotide and RNA nucleus, and you can activate genes dependent on your belief systems. That's why, they show people removing cancer with prayer, removing your blood acidity with prayer. I actually did a pH test where my pH was 7.1. I went into a full Qigong meditation. By the time I was done, I was up to 7.4 in acidity. Wow. That's a huge jump. Every tenth of a decimal on a pH is 10 to the X. That's how the measurement works. And it just shows you that we are beings that are so beyond the mortal body. And that whole Darwinistic, Charles Darwin, like that whole Newtonian law of physics, all of that stuff, we know is a complete bunch of crap. It's a complete bunch of bullshit. And so just, again, these are gnoses that we can have, the inner knowledge of self that can really put us in a lifespan that's about being, in your dharma, about having fun, about loving life. And it's important because our life has two spans. We have a health span and we have a disease span. And that's it. You're born, you live a healthy life, and then as soon as the disease starts, you're in the disease span. Yeah. And so, do you know how many people tell me, "Oh, Chervin, do you want to live forever? Are you trying to live to?" And I'm like, it's not about me living forever. I don't want to live forever. When it's time to transition, you better believe I'm ready. I mean, I've already done that with entheogenic compounds. What I'm saying is I want to live the longest health span of all time, and I want to hit mastery in this life. I want to be mastery in my awareness. I want to be cracking codes and hitting certain aspects of higher attainment. And I love that. I'm so excited. I saw someone commented saying that my pH couldn't be 7.1. My acidity, my saliva content was 7.1. So let's just make that clear. Some people are just, you can't, it's just unbelievable. I pray for you, brother. I pray for you, brother. Yeah. We should do these, weekly, every other week, and we can have an actual, this is a good start. We're just kind of talking about the center point of it, and then we can start getting into specifics. I mean, we can get into detoxification, we can talk about water, we can talk about stuff that's, not, everyone thinks, oh, I need millions and millions of dollars to be healthy. That's not the case. I mean, 99% of the things I do and talk about don't need a penny. Okay, so it's a mindset, it's a connection to our Mother Earth, it's understanding our circadian rhythm, things like that.
Yeah, definitely. I think circadian rhythm is one of one of the most important things I value so much is aligning that, because sleep for me, and I'm sure for yourself, is, oh God, it's one of the most important things in my opinion, is getting that sleep, that cycle of sleep on point, and you will see benefits to your life you've never seen before if you can align that, if you can get the quality to the stage 4 sleep, the amount of sleep and the deep sleep you need. That's where healing and restoration takes place. That's what we need. We need healing. We need energy.
You're on it, dude. A month ago, I went crazy on sleep. I did like 4 posts on a row on sleep. I broke down what adenosine is, which is a compound that keeps us from sleeping, and how that regulates in the entire body, and how critical the stages of sleep are. Yes, someone commented, that is the secret doctrine by Madame Blavatsky, a well-known theosophist. Okay, so sleep, dude. Sleep is where it's at. And all of these other things that we're talking about are all pivotal for proper sleep. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't have one without another. This live might end, because I think we're coming up on an hour.
All right, okay.
Definitely save this live and share it.
Yeah. I have people recording it. Yeah.
Yeah, and hey, brother.
Fiance's recording this. She's in.
Okay, cool. It's an honor, brother. I appreciate that, and I'm sending so much love to your father. What's your father's name?
Arshad.
Arshad?
Yeah.
Okay. My baba's Mustafa.
Mustafa.
Yeah. So
I'm sending my blessings to him.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you, man. Thank you for reaching out, and we'll do this again.
Yeah, definitely. Need to get into some more different topics. I know some of you guys are asking for different things for us to talk about, 5G and everything. We will get into it all. That's what we're here for.
There's your 5G right there.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that's it. Go read about this and watch the video on YouTube that was just posted on the Cymbiotika channel. It breaks down this entire system. I've been researching 5G and Wi-Fi radiation technology for forever. And that's one of the biggest things in my reality, is understanding how these electromagnetic frequencies work. And it took me a year to finally pick and choose something that fundamentally works, was made by a German group, and has peer-reviewed studies. And I'm so stoked for this, especially right now with the onset of what's happening right now with all of this crazy bio warfare and electrical warfare. Yeah,
we need solutions. We need it now. You know, we need to come now, definitely.
Absolutely.
And we will get there. We'll take down the system.
We'll do it.
It's gonna happen.
I gotta send you some Cymbiotika product. We gotta get you set up.
Yeah.
You're not on anything right now, are you?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I know.
Yeah.
But we'll get there.
We'll get there, dude.
Yeah.
Just the beginning.
Definitely. It's been an honor, man.
It's been an honor, mate. And I'll probably see you in the UK at some point. I was supposed to be at Wimbledon this year, but that got canceled. So.
Yeah. I'm traveling quite a bit.
You ever get out of the UK?
Yeah, I'm traveling quite a bit actually.
Okay.
Was planning on going to Thailand for a bit, but all them plans got cancelled.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Got to wait for this to calm down, and then I'm up and off. But I'll keep you posted with where I am.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
We'll get you over to Kauai.
The Great AIDS hoax by a guy named TC Fly. You can find it on YouTube, and it will blow your mind. I was watching that today. He also has a book, if you want to read that too. Yeah, this is my Instagram. Yeah, I show my face on a few posts, so some of you guys are familiar with me. All good?
All good. Yeah. Beautiful day right now. Wow.
Yeah, sun's setting over here.
How's the weather over there? Shitty?
Yeah, shit like usual. You know, above my house is basically, you know how when they spray their chemtrails, it's in like a grid format. Above my house is where the X marks the spot. Every day I go outside and it's just right up there, and it's a constant reminder, you know. It tells me every day of the forces we're fighting. Acts as motivation though, you know.
The duality is so crazy. You know,
Crazy,
it's like,
yeah.
I mean, again, it's funny. It's like it's so bad that it's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
How's your health?
My health is alright. It's good. Yeah. I'm looking to do a few more juice fasting experiment. I've always found that recently your best science is yourself, and is experimenting on yourself, and that will always be your best science. And I think if the more people that experience and try and experiment on themselves, that is where you will find the answers. And those that are looking external for, especially now modern science, you will not find the answers you're looking for. So for those that are always questioning, oh, should I do this, experiment, you know? Your body is your best equipment of science and truth. And the more you do it, the more you'll get your answers you're looking for. How about yourself?
I feel great, man. I mean, so you're right. You know, your body's always communicating with you, right? If you're feeling headaches, if you have a pain in your side, if your heart's skipping beats, your body's basically, you know, giving you a message. If you're getting sinus issues, you know, if you have throbbing somewhere in your body, what do most people do? They take a pill. And it's shocking because I use this analogy all the time. Let's say you had a $1 million supercar, McLaren, for example, and you just bought it brand new, $1 million cash. You're driving home from the dealership from McLaren, and all of a sudden, it starts making funny noises. The check engine light comes on, and a few other detectors come on. What do? Do you immediately take it back to the dealership to get it fixed and find out the problem? Or do you grab some duct tape and cover the check engine light? Right?
Yeah.
But our bodies are worth way more than $1 million supercar. They're worth trillions of supercars. But what are we doing? We're not listening to our body at all. In fact, we're trying to numb the problem. We take anti-allergy medication, we take Tylenol, we take Advil, we take NSAIDs, we take all of these things that, what do? They mask the symptom. It's out of control. So you gotta listen to your body, you gotta feel into your body, you gotta like really tune in. The body's constantly showing you and constantly telling you. And from there, understand the chemistry of the body. You know, like really get into the chemistry, like what keeps your body alive, happy, thriving, and basically going into the next level. You know, how does, you know, for me, it always starts with hydration. Hydration is the fundamental, you know, key. Hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, those are the main things, right? So hydrogen, so water, oxygen, what are you breathing? Your breath work. Carbon, charcoal. Okay? See where I'm going with that? These are the fabric of this reality. And so I make sure that those three things are superior. So I'm drinking the best water with the best salt, with the best chlorides. I'm making sure my breath work is on point. I'm making sure I'm breathing in as clean air as possible. That's why I have filters in my house. That's why I have HEPA filters. That's why I live where I live. And I make sure I have the best charcoal. Because what is charcoal? Charcoal is sequestered carbon. It's basically negative ions that are pushed together and rammed together. People think activated charcoal is just a sponge. You know, oh, I drank last night, or I ate some shitty food. Let me just take some charcoal. That's not what charcoal is. Charcoal is packed negative ions, and our body's craving negative ions. That's why grounding is so important. That's why walking on the earth is so important. What do you mean you can't afford this, unfortunately? Well, you can't afford water and charcoal. Charcoal's, you can get a pound of it for $2. The poverty conscious is so gnarly.
I seen a comment saying it's hard to take care of your health sometimes when you're stuck in a 9-to-5 rat race.
That's false. If you have that mentality, you're screwed. Sorry.
I think your health is your first priority above everything.
Yeah, you might not be able to get the most sophisticated products of all time because your money might be whatever. But for God's sakes, anybody who's working, you can afford a $60, $70 water filter, and you can find spring water somewhere. There's springs all over the world, and you can afford Celtic sea salt, which is a pound for $5. Come on, let's just get out of this like victim. Like, we gotta start somewhere, you know. And it's like, if we're constantly in victimhood, we can't get anywhere. So
yeah,
exactly. Water, breath. You know, I'm creating a hydrogen product right now, and this is phenomenal. This is 1,000 times got the antioxidant ability than anything out there, because hydrogen is basically our solvent. It's what removes impurities at the mitochondrial level, at the base of the cell. And so it's exciting. It's very exciting. Very simple stuff that we can do that are key to creating an alchemy within the body that's thriving.
Yeah.
It's not leading into disease.
Love that. Look forward to seeing that.
And then lymphatic system. Okay, so that and the lymph system. So it's breath work, it's hydrating, it's carbon. So detoxification is actually more important than nutrition. And me and David Wolf have been going back and forth on this for, since I was a kid. We're at the age where there's so many toxins, so many environmental toxins, beyond just glyphosate or insecticides, herbicides, fungicides. I'm talking about like trihalomethane. Have you heard of a trihalomethane? Trihalomethane is when chlorine turns into chloroform and attaches to an organic compound and creates something called a trihalomethane, which is a vicious carcinogen. And it's everywhere in the world. People are bathing in chlorinated water. They had an organic salad earlier that day. That's happening in their body. Just think about that. It's so full on, dude.
What is it called?
It's called a trihalomethane.
Trihalomethane.
THM. So yeah, trihalomethane is basically chlorine, chloramine, connects bonds with an organic compound, and that connection turns into a trihalomethane. It's basically its atomic structure is so acidic and it robs the cell of its life force. That's what a carcinogen is. It's anything that gets in between a cell's ability to clean itself or to communicate. It's basically the opposite of magnesium, okay? So magnesium is the most essential mineral besides calcium. It's what allows our cells to communicate. It's the transport carrier of communication. It creates the electronic ions for cells to communicate. It removes the ability. And so we're riddled with fluoride and chlorine and all of this crazy shit, which is turning our entire bodies into such sick disease state and removing the pH. So detoxification is more important. So our lymphatic system, okay, the lymph nodes, the kidneys, that you can be drinking all the juice in the world. You can be doing all the detoxing in the world, but if your lymph system isn't working, meaning your garbage disposal. So we have our heart, which pumps through an electric ion exchange and pushes blood throughout the entire avatar, right? And what's in the blood? It's nutrients, growth factors, white blood cells, natural killer cells, you know, all the things that cells need. Then on the other side, we have the lymphatic system, right? The lymph system doesn't have a heartbeat though, okay? So how does the lymph get going? Movement, exercise, rebounding, jumping on a mini trampoline, vibration plate, inversions that expands the lymph system so you can pump stuff out of it. If the kidneys are not functioning properly, then you can forget about disposing toxins out of the body. And most of the population kidneys aren't even working. And what sits on top of the kidneys are the batteries, which are the adrenals.
Yeah.
Everyone's always talking about your adrenal system. Well, your adrenal system is basically the charge that regulates the function of so many biological processes from A to Z, up from the hippocampus down to the toe. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And so the way to test your kidneys to see if it's working properly, this is Dr. Morse concept that I definitely believe in. Dr. Morse, what a berserker. He's the funniest guy ever. You pee in a jar. You know Dr. Morse? Yeah. So, yeah. So I believe in about 75% of what Dr. Morse says. There's 25% that he's missing that he doesn't even talk about. And that goes deeper into cellular health. It goes deeper into the soil. It goes deeper into the, you know, how we grow our food and all that stuff. So pee in a jar. If your pee is clear, then your kidneys aren't functioning. If there's sediment in it, like it's cloudy, that means your kidneys are working.
Yeah.
And if your kidneys aren't working, then there's certain herbs that you need to take. You know, it goes back to the electrical diet, Dr. Sebi diet, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in Sebi's work to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Because he's all detoxification. And we know plants are catabolic. Fruits are catabolic, meaning they detoxify you. And then certain animal products are anabolic, meaning they build you up. Everyone asks me, Chervin, what are you? You know, your company's plant-based, Cymbiotika is plant-based. I'm a qualitarian. So I only eat quality. That's my thing. I'm probably about 90% plant-based, and then 10% animal products, and that comes in the form of A2 ghee. Are you familiar with A2? It's the second hump out of India, the cow, the second hump.
Wow. No, I'm not too familiar with that.
Okay, yeah. And I'll break all this down to you offline, or we can, you know, do it together.
Definitely.
And then bee products, of course. You know, honey, real honey, of course. And then eggs. I do raw egg yolks. I eat the yolk raw because that's where all the phytonutrients are and growth factors and all that stuff. And then, yeah, that's it. Once in a while, if I'm with like a Native American church or Native American tribe, I'll eat the buffalo with them and do the whole ceremony and burn the tobacco, burn the sage, and go into it with intention. And remember, this all goes back to intention. So, and so so if you're asking me how my health is right now, so a little disclosure, I'm 39.
Okay. Oh, you do not look 39.
Thank you, brother. And I was just in Norway 4 or 5 months ago. I went to a clinic over there and took my mom there. And I got my telomere test done, which tests basically the protein that wraps my DNA and RNA. That's called telomeres. And I basically have the biological clock of a 24, 25-year-old. And so that's almost 45% less than my actual Gregorian calendar age.
Yeah. Well, they do say if you are, you know, living that lifestyle of true health and vitality, you can shorten your telomeres. You know?
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
like you've done yourself. Yeah.
Biological ways, pain, stress, all start to aggravate the telomere's ability to hold the strands together, that double helix. And so there's so many breath works, you know, there's herbs, you know, astragaloside is one of them. So it's like a high concentrated form of astragalus. You know, NAD boosters, so nicotinamide, adenamide, dinucleotide, NAD, NMN, you know, nicotinamide mononucleotides, all of those things. That's why I take niacin all the time. I don't know if you see me in my infrared sauna. I'm taking big doses of nicotinic acid, which is dilating my blood vessels and giving oxygen and information to my cells. You know, all of these things, you know, it's like, fuck it.
Yeah.
And just having fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think that's the key point, man. You gotta have fun with it.
Yeah, exactly. It's so much fun. Like, health is fun. Like, it's fun to feel good.
I think there's a level of health that a lot of people, it's like, you know, if you have poor eyesight, like for myself, I wear glasses. I can't comprehend just how good my eyesight can be. I'll never be able to perceive what it is to be able to look and it's clear, you know, without my glasses, obviously. And it's the same thing with health, is we can't perceive, if we've never had that true health and vitality, we cannot perceive how good our life can actually be when we achieve it. And that is something I think everybody should strive for, because there is absolute beauty in that.
Well said, dude. Your perception is your reality.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
How you perceive things is your reality, whether it's black or white. I mean, that's your own self-cognitive dissonance. And I think it's just, we got to get momentum. We got to get discipline. I talk about, that's part of half the things I talk about on social media is about discipline.
Yeah.
You know, so many people, I'm getting thousands of messages a day. Chervin, help me with this. Chervin, I need you. Chervin, like constantly. I can't do it because I have businesses to run. I'm a chemist here. I'm designing these products. Just take your own power back. Get disciplined. Take the time. Read what I've written. Read other books. Read people, you know, watch the videos. Do the work. The work is the journey. That's the best part of it. I mean, that's what stimulates you and turns you on. It makes you feel good. Like, I've read over 3,000-4,000 books. That's the truth. I've gone weeks where I've done like 15 books nonstop, and I don't have a social life. I can, you know, between me and you, let's just keep it real. I could be on the beach right now in any island I want, with any girl I want, probably multiple girls, having the best time of all time. Being real. I could be going to music festivals, I could be going to Burning Man, I could be going to, you know, All Day I Dream. I mean, like, literally live that lifestyle with, you know, crazy conscious people and schmoovers and shakers. I'm not doing any of that right now. But my life is about discipline, it's about focus, it's about straight up connection and living in my dharma. And if someone wants to have that kind of change and bring this light to their life, it's going to take some work. It's going to take some work.
Yeah, that's also...
Some people, look, I didn't mean to, I'm not trying to be cocky. Goodbye to you. I'm just being real. I'm just giving you a slice of authenticity. It's okay for me to be authentic. I'm just being real. I'm not being influenced by the worldly pleasures. I'm focused on my craft. And if someone is, so one person just got aggravated by me saying that, oh, I can't handle it, goodbye. Look in the mirror. Get out of your emotional miasm, which is the illusion, and just come on, like, let's do it. I don't mean to be an ego. I'm just telling the facts.
Yeah.
There's a real ego, and then there's the false ego. Okay, I have a great relationship with my ego. Oh my God, if you don't have a good relationship, the spiritual community, whatever, is basically, you know, chastise the ego. And your whole samadhi, your whole point of everything is a beautiful partnership with your ego. How are you going to get from point A to point B? How are you going to get healthy? How are you going to become a king? How are you going to become a queen? How are you going to be the best mother of all time? How are you going to be the best daughter of all time? You have to love and nurture and culture your ego. This whole fucking hating the ego is so dangerous and so bad. The false ego is the ego of pain and fear, and you shell yourself up with other things. That's the false ego, where your life is defined by an illusion or defined by how you perceive others perceive you. Like that's the false ego. So to the woman who said, "Oh, I'm out of here, goodbye," peace the fuck out. Sorry, bro. It's just.
I can completely get you, man. I seriously get you.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's a level of thinking that not many can understand. So I don't really expect many people to get it. I'm sure you don't as well. But back to what you were saying as well about learning, picking up a book and all of this. That's also part of the problem, is we live in these times where there's just instant information. People want the answers right there, and are afraid to put in that work. But the truth is, we've become so disconnected that nothing's going to come easy now. You have to go through that pain, that research, that time, that solitude of just really understanding everything, learning, developing. And it's going to be painful, it's going to be long, it's going to be hard, but you've got to go through it. We all have. The good thing is there are people out there that have done a lot of the work for us, and are providing that for us. You got to seek these people out and move accordingly,
You have a lot of wisdom, my friend. And I don't know where you got it from. I don't know if that was intrinsically within you, but I see that in you. And how old are you?
I'm 22.
You're 22, yeah. And you're right where you're supposed to be. And
much appreciated, bro. Much love.
Yeah. And I'm excited to have a new brother in my life. So
awesome, bro. Awesome. Me too, man.
Yeah. We'll do some amazing things and have the best time ever. And it's like we're here, just like that. And we know it all too well with our fathers. And life is so short. Every single moment can be the most beautiful moment, or it can be the worst moment. Mm-hmm. This could be your heaven. This could be your hell. It's what you choose to do.
Exactly.
And the more, and this is a, Tibetan ritual, is the more you're in your body, the more you're in your awareness, the easier the ability you have when it's time to leave the mortal body. Mm-hmm. The easier time it is to go into the transitionary world of the Bardo state. And once you enter that Bardo, all of this inner work, all of the faculties that you've been building up into this entire material life will prepare you to enter that transitionary state and enter the Bardo. And I know it, man. I've been there, dude. I've been there, I've seen it. I've just separated and completely went into that God consciousness. And I feel like life is a preparation of that transition. And all of it, and all of these things with our health and our love and our energy and our awareness brings us closer to that center. So we're grounded in that. We're not just to be rattled. If someone immediately comes on the news and says, coronavirus is killing all these people, we don't get shocked. We don't get scared. We don't get out of our element. We stay grounded, earthing, internal core, because nothing can shake us. And that is more important than anything. That is the key to all of this. And that's practicing samadhi. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome. Which is where your bloodline's from.
What was that you said?
Which is where your bloodline's from.
Yeah.
We have interesting bloodlines. Like, you're first generation.
Second. My parents were born here, raised there.
I was going to say, your parents were born in the UK.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, okay, that makes sense because you're 22. Okay, yeah. So okay, got it. Okay, trippy. So that's, you know, you're the body that you're in right now comes from a very, very, very ancient tribal land. You know, and it's interesting. This body comes from that same area.
Yeah.
A little bit more northeast.
Yeah.
And very fascinating when you think about that.
It's crazy.
We've forgotten where we've come from. We've forgotten our ancestral roots, which is
man, that is also a big part of taking us away from really knowing what our purpose is. You know, if we don't know where we've come from, we don't know where we are, we don't know where we're going.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I talk about that all the time because that's an old Vedic transcript, is that in order to know who you are, you got to know where you are, to know where you're going to become who you are.
Yeah.
So that's like a Hermetic philosophy too. I mean, that's like Hermes Trismegistus, as above, so below. What do those concepts mean, right? And so, yeah, there's so much really epic stuff to get into. I mean,
yeah,
the whole thing is just so beautiful the way it unfolds.
It's so vast. It's incredible. How many doors, new doors of perceptions you can open, man. It's crazy. But it's also wonderful at the same time, you know.
Oh, it's it
keeps you going.
Like, we're alive right now, breathing, experiencing, processing what's actually happening in our bodies, in our hearts, in our minds, what's happening above us on an astrological level. You know, that's another thing that's really important for me is cosmology. You know, and that's a Rudolph Steiner thing as well. That's what Cymbiotika is about. I mean, that's what biodynamic farming is. You know, biodynamics is not just organic food. What does organic even mean? Organic just means what you can't put in the soil. It doesn't mean all the herbs and the spices and the minerals and the preparations. Biodynamics is all of that, and understanding where we are and planting that food and harvesting that food and nurturing that food during specific cosmological moments. And way beyond New Age astrology, you know, way beyond all of that. And I'll just say this. They're not telling us where we are, okay? And we can talk about that offline.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay? And,
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, Hollywood has played its part to perfection to construct the reality we think we're in. Okay?
Well said. Exactly.
Yeah. I gotta roll. But,
yeah. I think it's good timing. My phone battery is about to go anyway, so.
Okay. Brother, that was the best ever.
Yeah, it was amazing, bro. We gotta do more of these.
We'll do more of these, yeah. What time is it over there right now? It's probably like 10 o'clock?
It's 7:40 p.m.
Okay, yeah, you started at 6. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be in touch with you.
Yeah, let me know. We can arrange something.
Yeah.
Get this going again, yeah. Awesome, bro. Much love, man.
It's an honor, brother.
Honor.
Much love to you all.
Take care.
Family.
Thank you for everyone who's joined, yeah.
I have one last line. It's your true self is immaterial, your conscious is ethereal, it pre-exists your body and transcends the material.
Fucking love it, man. I love it.
I'm gonna say it again.
Perfect to end that.
Your true self is immaterial, your conscious is ethereal, it pre-exists your body and transcends the material. Much love, family. What an honor.
Yeah. Peace, everybody.